expect to see the conversion from assignment to exposure to be almost 100, but why we're not seeing it?
Hi, Tian. I think just to rephrase your question to make sure I have it right, when you start the experiment, you're seeing that more users are exposed, or there are more exposure events for your control group than your variant group. Is that correct?
No, actually, you guys in the activity side, the page, activity page for the experiment you just showed. So there's one chart which is conversion from assignment to exposure, meaning how, like what percentage of people you assign to actually get the exposure. So that we expect that to be almost 100%, but right now it's like 40%. So what could have happened?
So I would double check how your exposure event, are you using the recommended amplitude exposure event, or you're using a custom?
Well, I think we use the amplitude recommend, but we set up the target audience to whoever definitely will perform that exposure event. So if with that target audience, you should expect to see a 100% conversion, right?
So I think maybe we can take a step back. I'm not sure if you're coming from Optimizely at all, because sometimes we've seen this with some clients where there might be some realignment that needs to happen just with the definitions of assignment versus exposure, because it might be a little different. But typically we do see less exposure events than assignment events. And that's because the assignment event is essentially you are predetermining, okay, I want the users to be assigned. So once you assign them, they may or may not be exposed to the change that you're trying to test for. And it really depends on how quickly, or I guess what you define as your primary metric, right? So for example, if your primary metric might be a few steps into the customer journey, then your exposure rate will probably be lower. It will take a few steps for the user to actually be exposed. So to give you an example, maybe you're on a website, you want the change that you're introducing on the variant is maybe on a blog page. So from the home page, users first have to land there, and typically that's where the assignment happens. But then the user has to be able to navigate to the blog page for them to be exposed to the change that you're introducing. And so that's where you see exposure rates typically less than assignment or events.
I understand that part. Yeah, my question is, we limited our target audience to whoever definitely performed go to the blog, meaning our audience will surely go to the blog part. Then why we still see like less exposure? The user should be for sure be exposed.
Gotcha. Is your exposure on the home page by chance where they don't have to navigate away?
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. Is it potentially under the fold? Now I'm getting into the weeds.
No, it's not. It's very straightforward.
Okay, so basically somewhere around above the fold, somewhere maybe the hero banner up there. So they should
Yeah.
immediately. Okay, so in that case, I would like to just recommend actually bringing up the Chrome extension, the Event Explorer, Amplitude Event Explorer again, just to look at your user stream to see what events are actually firing once they land on your homepage for both control and maybe some in the variant as well, just to see what events are actually firing and what you're seeing there, because that would be the number one thing to check. And then in the background, Rohi, is there anything that Tian can check in terms of just the setup?
Yeah, I would I think that this is an instrumentation issue. One thing that I would also then check is set up your testers for your experiment and then see that, as soon as your tester is like firing the assignment event, are you also firing the exposure event immediately after for that tester? Because that should be the journey for every user as you expect.
Right. And I read your documentation saying that by default, Amplitude is using the session start as assignment event, right? By default.
No.
No?
You send the assignment event when you call a function called fetch, and that will send the assignment event to Amplitude. So that becomes your assignment for the user. And then there's a function called .variant that you will call, which will then send the exposure event.
Okay, got it.